All right. Hello, everybody. So today's webinar is about using polling tools in your face-to-face and remote classrooms. So I thought we'd just have a look at a few different tools and have a little play with them. This presentation I've got here is in a sway, and I've posted that in the chat, which means it will be underneath the meeting in the channel as well, so you should be able to get hold of it. If you can't get hold of it, on the next slide you'll see my name is Rebecca Riley, and I'm one of the learning technologists with Innovate, and on this project I've been allocated as the learning technologist for schools. But if you've got any questions about this presentation, please do get in touch with me, don't mind at all. And you can get me over a Teams chat, or you can email me at Rebecca Riley at Grimsby or at Scarborough Tech. I've got both. Right. So why are we going to use polling tools would be the first question to address. So polling tools can be used to kind of aid formative assessment. That's the big one. They do help boost engagement because when all said and done, they are quite good fun to use. And you can identify knowledge gaps, and you can kind of like, support deeper learning, as it were. So what exactly is a polling tool? There are loads of online polling tools available. We're just going to have a look at 4 today. And some of them, like Kahoot, is it a polling tool? Yes, because you can use it to do a poll, but it's also, a blended learning tool, and it's also a assessment tool. It does lots of other stuff as well, but we're going to look at using them for polling today. So I think when you're talking about a polling tool, you're looking to get relatively immediate feedback to some question that you've posed. So if, for example, you're doing a presentation and you're not sure your point has been absorbed by people, you can test them with a quick question to make sure there isn't a misunderstanding there. And then you can modify your session accordingly. So if you're teaching in a classroom and you do a quick check question, you know this. If people don't understand it, cover it again. So you can accommodate the response. So which tool to use? They're very much, there's lots available and lots of them are multi-purpose. So you probably end up having your favourite tools for, big assessments and for immediate questions, and use the one that you like the most. So today we're going to have a look at Kahoot, which we're going to look at using it in the classroom for formative assessment, and in assign mode, which is quite new to Kahoot, which is where you can kind of like assign a Kahoot quiz as homework. So that works quite well if you've got half your class in the classroom and half your class at home. It means that they can still participate, because you can use Kahoot over an online session like we're going to do today, but it can, if you don't have a phone and a laptop, it can be a little bit unwieldy to manage. And then we're going to have a look at trying to identify misconceptions with a Mentimeter word cloud. I don't know if you've ever used word clouds. Mentimeter is a massive product with lots of really good stuff in it, and it's quite diverse, which is really interesting. So we're just going to have a look at one part of it. Then we're going to have a look at Microsoft Forms, which you will have under your Office 365 waffle if you've got Office 365. And Microsoft Forms are really easy to use for assessment, and you can use them in that format, but you can also just pop one question into a Teams channel, and that's incredibly quick to set up, so you can do that on the fly. Again, the Poly app works just in Teams channels, and you can use it really quickly on the fly. It gives you a little bit more functionality than just using the one question of the Forms app. And then finally, for people who don't have any tech in the classroom, maybe your students are much younger and they don't have laptops or phones in the classroom, we'll have a look at another tool called Plickers, which you can use without your students have any tech whatsoever. Just have a quick view of it. Right, so moving on to Kahoot. I'm guessing at this point that nearly everybody knows what Kahoot is, because it's quite a big, and I know that if you've either teaching in a secondary school or have kids in the secondary school, loads and loads of secondary schools use these with kids, and they do. I'm saying they really enjoy them. My son really enjoys it, so I've based it on that. So we'll have a quick look at Kahoot. So Kahoot is a website that you can access on kahoot.com. The person setting up the quiz, so the teacher, has to have a login, which is free, and the students don't need to log in, so that's great. They don't have to create a Kahoot login and remember a password or anything like that. And the first thing you'll notice when you arrive in Kahoot is that there's quite a lot to choose from, but the two things we're going to look at is discover and create, which is essentially discover is using someone else's quiz and create is creating your own quiz. Let's have a look under discover. And the topic that we're looking at today is Kahoot, so I'm going to look for a quiz on Kahoot, if that's not too confusing. And hopefully it'll give me a choice of quizzes. Now, if you're going to use there are squillions of quizzes available under Discover that might already be suitable for whatever you're teaching. If you're teaching a particular level or on a particular course, it's worth putting that in the search because you might find something really specific. You'll find if you look at the levels here, because this is an American site, it will be the American educational levels, not the British ones, but you can still put Key Stage 2 in or something to pick up stuff for, you know, older primary kids. Let's have a look at this quiz here then. So this is a Kahoot quiz on Kahoot. You know now that I'm going to ask you to play it, so let's get ready for that. When I go into it, I get a quick look at the questions. I can have a look at the answers if I want to. I'm not going to show them and give the game away. And then we can play the quiz. Looks great. Let's play it. I'll click on the play button. At this point, you get two choices. You can play in teach mode or assign mode. The teach mode is the version of Kahoot that you've quite possibly played before. And it was designed that you would have it up on an interactive whiteboard in your classroom, and that your students might have a phone or something or a tablet on their desk that they could use to do the answers. You can also use it, as I'm going to do now, with me displaying it on my shared screen and you hopefully participating on your mobile phone or tablet or any other device you've got. You can also manage it by splitting your screen and having the answer screen on one side and the teaching screen on the other side. It's just a little bit clunky to manage. The assign mode is the other option, which I'll tell you about what we're not going to look at today, which is essentially assigning the quiz. So it's exactly the same quiz. It will send out a link to it, and then you will say you have however many hours or however many days to do this quiz. So it has a slightly different feel to it. As you will see, Kahoot in itself is really competitive, whereas the assign mode is a lot less competitive. So if you have students who don't like the competitive aspect of Kahoot, they might rather do it in the assign mode where you get more time to think about your answers. And also if you've got a split classroom with some people at home, some people in the building, this can be one way of them both getting the same experience, more or less. Let's click on teach mode. So I'm going to go with classic. And at this point, it will say, get ready to join in. So if you have a phone or a tablet or another screen, if you go to kahoot.it, it will ask you to put in the game pin 7088233. So if you'd like to, oh, Sophie, well done. So if you'd like to try that now, we can get, oh, you do get this music, which I'm going to, so again, that's Harriet, Jenny, Lauren, Steve, Sharon. So you've possibly done this before. The one thing I will point out at the moment is that you can, because you can put any name. Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry if I've just deleted someone. Then I've just clicked on you. You can make up any name that you want to join the quiz. So there is a way of controlling that in the settings, just because people do tend to want to make up hilarious names for themselves. So watch out for that with your classroom management. Right, have we got 1, 2? Is everybody in? Is everybody managed? Does any? If you want to turn, if you can't manage and you need help, just turn your Microsoft off and on and shout. I don't mind. If not, we'll start the game then. I think we've got a few people in, so I'm going to click start. So if you imagine, this could be up on the whiteboard. It doesn't have to be on in an online chat like this. First question, what is Kahoot? And you click on your device that you've logged in with, you will be given a selection of 4 colours. You click on the one that you think's right. And when everybody's answered, or when we run out of time, I've got 11 answers, I can't remember how many people logged in. Managing. 3. And, oh, every answer was right. So everybody's got a right answer there. But when we move on, we'll see immediately that you get points for being quick and points for being right. So Harriet, even though no one got a wrong answer, is still in the lead because she was the fastest. Let's move on to the next quiz. How can I join the Kahoot community? So now you realise you've got to, as soon as you see a right answer, hit it. Because you'll win for speed. It says here you get a free account, and that is quite true. It does keep pestering you to upgrade, but there's loads of functionality in the free account, so if you stick with it. Cool. So one of these was wrong, but no one chose it, so that's good. Harriet, oh no, yep, still in the lead, well done. Yes, I'm a Kahooter now. How do I start creating my first Kahoot? Well done. There was 3 right hands. Yeah, most people went for the first one. So people are realising now that you've got to answer quickly. It turns you into a quick thinker. So they're going for the first one. That seemed right. Let's do it. Harriet is, on fire. Oh, we're going to crush you out then. But you're doing really well. But Leah's gone into the lead. How can I personalise my Kahoot? You can upload images on each question, which works really well, particularly if you've got, you know, younger children who aren't reading that well yet. You can, you know, illustrate with images as well, or in fact ask questions about an image, spot the what have you. Who's winning now? Lee, still in the lead. So this is yeah, what it's telling us about here is that you can drag questions to reorder them, but you can also edit, duplicate, or trash questions. So if you find a quiz on Kahoot that you really like, but it's got some questions you don't want to ask, you can edit the quiz to edit the questions, bin the questions, reuse the questions in another format. Sorry, I didn't let you see the the leaderboard then. To play Kahoot, I must launch it on large screen. That's right. So the immediate thing that you will see with Kahoot is that all your students need at least a few devices that they can share, if not a device each to work with, unless you do it in assign mode. But then they're still going to need a device wherever they are to do that. Who can benefit from Kahoot? This Kahoot quiz is obviously made by Kahoot. And these social events you do quite often. There's been a lot of pub quizzes on Kahoot over lockdown because obviously it works really well for that. We're nearly at the end, don't panic. What can I use the results for? So the students do see immediately how well they're doing on the quiz, but you can also go in and analyse the results afterwards and see which questions everybody got wrong and which questions individuals got wrong. So you can do quite a lot of analytics with that. Oh, Sharon, well done. What does Kahoot offer you? I haven't got the sound on, but this is lots of kids whooping because they enjoy Kahoot so much. I must admit that I used to use Kahoot. I used to teach people who like retired people, you know, basic IT skills, and we used Kahoot and they absolutely loved it. And, you know, down to primary school kids love it as well. It is quite competitive and enjoyable. Now that I'm in love with Kahoot, what should I do? Oh, any of these, I imagine. Let's have a look at the results when you get your answers in. So we finished the quiz now. Oh, someone not answering. They've maybe fallen off the call. I'll just skip so we can get them. Oh, we get a podium at the end. Lauren. Well done, Lauren. Oh, sorry, it wasn't you, Lauren. Lauren third, Sophie second, Sharon first. Well done. And you did well as well. So that is a Kahoot quiz. If you've never played one before, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have played Kahoot before or used it, I hope you got a really good mark because you should have known everything about it. I'm just going to give you a quick show you how to make your own quiz. So obviously that's great. There's loads of quizzes available in the discovery bit. You can create a quiz with, you know, like 100 questions or one question. So if it was just for a poll, you could just create the one question. It's entirely up to you. Let's have a look how to create a quiz. Click here on create. If it's going to work. Here we go. So you're straight in with your first question, and I'm going to pretend that we're at primary school today and looking at embedded clauses. So my question is going to be, I don't know, J.K. Rowling is a and perhaps in the title, I'll call the title of the quiz Embedded Clauses. I will probably give some instruction here on what I wanted them to do. You know, add the embedded clause that fits the question, and then in my answers I can add. You see here, it actually gives you some help. If it's a maths question, you can use the maths option here. That's quite handy. Oh, I better put my oh, there we go. Yeah, comma, very large fish, and then obviously the right answer, which is who. I took it off my little girl's homework. Realistic, and I could go on to add two more if I wanted to, and that's my oh, I have to say which one's the right answer, so it's that one. So you identify the right answer, and on this question, what else can you do? You can have a time limit. So if it's something with a lot of reading, you might want to add more seconds. That quiz we've just done, they put 80 seconds on to give you longer to read it. You can use an image there if you want to. If you're on the free version, you can only do a true or false or a multiple choice question. There are other questions, but you have to pay to use those. Here, there's a question bank. So if on your quiz you wanted to add, have a look and see if a question already existed, you could try that there, so you didn't have to start it yourself. And that's as easy as it is. And then I click on done, I imagine, and then I can immediately go and play the quiz, which would only be one question. In whatever mode I want. So back to that. So it is really easy to add the questions. So that's Kahoot. Right, what should we look at next? I've put here at the bottom of Kahoot, why not evaluate Kahoot for your silver or gold level of assignment? So if anybody is running through the assignments on the EdTech demo project, you know, if you do love the look of Kahoot and decide to use it in class, do consider using that, writing about that and evaluating that experience for your silver or one of your level up gold products. Moving on to Mentimeter. So you can use Mentimeter to build interactive presentations. So you can build whole presentations, or you can just pop into it from a presentation to add one question. And then audiences again use their phones to connect to the presentation and interact with it. So this one works really well online or in the actual classroom or in a presentation in real life. You can get it from mentimeter.com. Let's go there. So this is Mentimeter. Click on your presentations. And I'm going to create a new presentation. And I'm going to call it, climate. But we've swiftly moved on to secondary school now, and we're going to ask a question about climate change. So so you can see it works like slides, a bit like PowerPoint, and there's question slides, which are the interactive ones, and content slides. So as I say, if you wanted to create a whole presentation in this, you could, but we're just going to use it as like just to pop in to ask a question, and we're going to have a look at the type of question that creates a word cloud. I'm sure you've all seen word clouds before. It's where the more words that you get, the bigger the word gets. The more people that use the same word, the bigger the word gets. And my question is going to be, what causes global warming? And I'm going to let everybody have 3 goes if they want it. No, I'm not. I'm going to let them have 1 go because there's lots of you. So 1 go, the biggest thing that you think. I can add an image here if I want to. Let's try that. There's an image library here. If I put that one in, that's fine. Meant to put an image description in, haven't bothered yet. Cool, right, we're on. We've done our question. So I'm going to, I just need to change in my, do I click on present or save it or something? Right, so you now, can you see the instructions at the top? You go to menti.com on your phone, or in this instance, you could switch screens on. You don't need to be able to see you can go to a different screen on your laptop if you rather. Go to menti.com and use the code 813622. And I should get some results in here on this screen, I think. Oh, 1 person is here. Oh, do I have to hide the image to do it? There we go. Electricity, carbon emissions, pollutions. So the pollution. Oh, I'm getting lots of pollutions. We're not adding them together. Oh, that's because 2 different spellings. Just a typo there. Right, so you can see what's happening as you add things. More people have said the word pollution than any other word, and that's what's causing as their idea. Now, I posed that you could use this as a way of assessing if anybody's got the wrong end of the stick with this. So if someone had have put in, I don't know, that, you know, some animals are becoming extinct, you could realise that that's not a cause, that doesn't cause global warming, that's a cause of global warming. You know what I mean? So you can look for words that aren't quite right. Human's a good one. So that's Mentimeter, and that's nice. It's quite visual. It's something that you might be interested in having a go with. And again, you didn't even, I don't think, have to give yourself a nickname. And it was the nice thing about Mentimeter, it's anonymous, or you can make it anonymous, so no one knows who's. If someone in the class writes something daft or gets the wrong answer, no one's going to know about it other than you. So at least you'll know someone in the class, you know, has made a mistake with it. Let's go back to the presentation. Thank you for doing that. Again, if you like the look of Mentimeter, why not use it for your silver level up? Moving on to forms. And we said that we would try forms for a as a form of assessment. Now, I do need to put this into the chat, so I'm not sure how well this is going to work. We'll have a little try with it. So I'm going to use it two ways. I'm going to use it by creating a form for assessment and then popping it in the chat of this Teams conversation, as it were, and then you filling it in. And then I'm going to show you how to add it into a Teams channel as well. So Microsoft Forms you can get from the Office 365 Waffle. And here I put a link through to if you haven't done your MIE training yet, which is 2 hours of training on the Microsoft Education Centre, there's a really good Forms course which is aimed at teachers. So you might want to consider doing that because Forms is so useful. So I put the link to it there if you're looking for something to get started with. So let's go to so this is my Forms app here. Let's show me all and I've got loads of forms that I've made, one of which is this, so it won't show me the list, this one that I've made about maths, which is my, sorry, lost it now, so I can show you what, there we go. So let's add, and it's got three or four questions so far. It's really easy to set up. You just click on new quiz. I've started my quiz. I'm going to just add one question to show you. She's going to be should do it as a text question, and let's make the question 9 times 9 because it's all about squaring numbers. And because it's an answer, you put the answer there. I've got to add in answers that might be right. So 81. Is that right? Oh, and add another one. I might put in 83 in case the 80. Oh no, because that's not right. I can put in A. Let's decide to write it in. And that's that. What you do then is the quiz is finished and I can share it and just pick up a link to it. I'm going to pop the link into our chat, and for those of you that can access the chat, if you don't mind clicking on that link and then filling the form in. Oh, hang on, I need to check. Can you see here on the screen that I've got it checked to anyone in my organisation, and because some of you aren't in my organisation, I need to share it to anyone with the link. So I'll copy that again, ignore the first one, go for the second one. Let's see if anybody manages to fill it in. And then we can see, if you can't fill it in, I'm sorry, but we can at least have a look for the responses coming in. So hopefully we'll get some responses on the right-hand side. So you could use this if you were teaching in a Teams chat with your class and wanted to, post some questions which you didn't want them to verbally respond to. You could use this and let them do that while you talk to somebody else. It's just an extra way of adding a bit of assessment in. Can anybody access the form and have, oh, maybe I need to refresh this page. Let me have a look. No, still only got one response. I think that was me. This may not work. No one might have access to or be able to get access to. Does anybody want to switch the mic? Oh, two, got one, I've got one. So we've got a response in. And I'm probably just not letting you have time to do the answers and talking so you can. So you can see now I'm getting the responses in. And if I look on the questions at the more details, you can see that, the other person was anonymous, but in a normal scenario, you would collect their name so you can see. So I can see who got it right and who got it wrong. And if someone wants to get one wrong, that might, oh, we've got a choice here. Yeah. So you see it brings the responses in straight away, and it's really nicely laid out. You can download all the responses into Excel and gather the information from there, and that's really useful. And on all of the questions, you can look at more big details, and then you can see which person, got it right and which person got it wrong. Okay, then. Thank you, the people who did manage to do that. That's great. I'm going to pull Teams in now and show you how to use forms in a team. Everybody's been really quiet. Just presume that's because you're all understanding. Right.
It's really good, thank you. It's really
it's a bit difficult to know if it's that you've just all done.
No, it is really, really informative. Thank you so much.
That's okay. Zoom just like eating sandwiches and ignoring me. Right. So I'm now in the support and social channel for the EdTech Demo Hub. So you should all have access to this. I realise some people may not be logged in, and don't worry if you're not. So hopefully some of you will be able to respond to this if I try it. If this was in a classroom scenario, you might have a class in a team class, and you could post it in that class. So I'm going to add a new conversation, but I'm going to click on these three dots here instead, and then choose forms. Now, as I said before, you probably forgot, and I said this lets you have one question from a form essentially, and it sends the results back to forms. So you could look at the results in the same way as we looked at the results on the last one. I'll just wait for this to load. It might go quite slowly. Are you going to load? Let me try that again. Okay, so my question that I was going to ask, let's ask which polling tool do you like best? And my options would be Kahoot, I guess, and Mentimeter, and I'm going to add another option, which is forms. And I'm going to save. I'm going to share the results automatically after voting, and I'm going to keep the responses anonymous and share that, and let's see what we get. Oh, it's showing me what it's going to look like, and then when I send it, it should send it to the channel. Hey, so if anybody has got that channel, you might have got a ping now, and you should be able to. The good thing is it's put the results in directly underneath it, and the poll is here. So I like Mentimeter best. So I'm going to submit my vote, and then it will update here. And if anybody else can find it and have a go on it. Oh, well done, whoever that was, coming in with Kahoot. There, so you can see that this is really good because it was so easy to set up and it's so instant. But I guess it would work best if you're, you know, I know some schools have set up where, you know, the children are on Teams, so they're at home, sat on Teams all the time. So you could send these questions out, and they would get a ping from the question and be prompted to answer it, even if it was just a good morning, how are you today? You know. The teacher could get at that point an anonymous, if they didn't show the results, they could get anonymous response, not anonymous, you know, private response from each student to find out how they're doing that day and if they're okay. So you could use it for something like that. Right then, that's forms in a channel. Let me scroll down a bit. I'm going to add another new conversation. Let me just go back to my presentation for a minute. I'll move that out of the way. Oh, let's have a look in forms, and it should have given me it in, because I created it, it should be in my list of forms, I think now. There, because so, I mean, I didn't show you this view before. This is all the forms I've ever created. So there's that maths one that we played with, which I can see the response of, but it's also created a new form for me, so that if you lose the question from Teams, forget which team it's in, it will always be there for you to have a look at the responses afterwards in forms. So I'll just go delete forms for now, delete that for now. back to my presentation. So we've had a look at forms. The next one we're going to look at is Polly. Now, I just chose Polly because it's the app, it's already integrated into Microsoft Teams, so it's there for you to use. I've copied this from the website. So it fosters collaboration and productivity. It works a little bit like the forms one, but you can ask more questions. So I thought it would be really good to have a look at it as a feedback form, which I think I've already created and saved. So let's have a look at that. I'm back in Teams then, and I'm going to do a new conversation, and this time I'm going to choose Polly. Now it's gone in my preferred list because I've been using it a lot, but it's also in the more apps section here. She says, well, we'll find it now. Polly, Polly, Polly. Let me just pick it off that menu there because
it's just at the top.
Oh, sorry, I've missed it.
Oh.
There we go. It's there anyway. It will be on the list somewhere. I think actually if you've not used it before, you might have to activate it, but it won't have been hard if I've managed it. So there we go. So you can create a new Polly, but because there's a lot of typing, if it will let me. I'd already started one, so I'll go with my previewed one, but essentially I created new and then I started typing the questions in. So this is the one that I started typing, and I was going to do it on polling tools feedback. Do you think students will use it? Was my first questions. I'll let you read these or you fill it in. A little bit flaky here. You're not going to let me go. Okay. Well, I'm going to edit it to add my last question in. And I'm going to add a question at the bottom. So I've already added 3. Add a question at the bottom, which is going to be, would tech free, well, I mean tech free for the students, solution be better for you? Question, and my answers are going to be yes or no. So it's very easy to set this up, and that's it. I've done it, I think, so I can preview it, my whole poll, and then I'm going to send that to the channel. So you should get that in a minute. So this will arrive in that same Teams channel. So if the people who can access the channel want to have a look at it, it hasn't actually. Oh, is that because I'm doing new closers? 12/3/20. I should have said you can actually change the times you both send it and receive it. So you want it to be a poll that people have to answer in the next 20 minutes. You can set that up just in case you're worried that it's going to be hanging around forever with people answering the questions to it. And then I think I click on here to view. Can I start it? Start Polly. Does that? I'll answer the questions here. Do you think you'll be using polling tools for your students? Oh yes, definitely. What tech do you have in your classroom? Well, we've all got students have computers here. Would a tech-free polling solution be better for you? Well, not necessarily, but I still like them. And I'll submit my response, and then we can view the results. I didn't actually check to see where the results turn up. There will be something like, oh, look, you can show me it. Oh, 3 completions, 4 completions. I think it would show me them in the, unless it was to do with my setting. Oh, there we go, it's showing me them now. So, yeah, so we've got some results in. First question, strongly agree that they're going to use the tools. Oh, this is quite interesting for us. Students have phones, students have computers. Not everybody has one, so it's interesting to know the level. Would you teach? No one really needs to see. Okay, that's brilliant. So I hope that kind of shows you a little bit of what Polly does. So it's kind of more questions, very much like the forms, but more questions at the same time. So you could do that instantly. You could, you could set that up in class while students were, doing something else for a few minutes. That would be totally feasible. Let me go back to my presentation. Again, why not use Polly for your silver level up? I'm pushing that a bit now. I was only going to mention, I don't know if anybody's heard of clickers, and it's really interesting because it's such it's an really interesting idea, and I'll just quickly talk about it. We can't attempt it. If you are in like a class where your students don't have any tech, I'm talking now possibly about infant age primary school or something where they really don't use computers in the classroom, that you can still use assessment online using these Plickers cards. You print out a set of these cards and each child's allocated one of them, and you ask them a question on the board or shout it out, and they answer A by putting A at the top, or B at the top, or C or D at the top, as you can imagine. And each card is different and allocated to the child, and you scan them with your mobile phone, and then it imports the results into a into the Plickers website, and you can see the responses. You can either put them up on the board for all the kids to see it, or you can just review them yourself. So the thing that I like about it is you don't need any tech for it, you just need the cards, but also it is anonymous because the children themselves can't see what other people are answering. So that works quite well if it's a question where you don't want them to see each other's answers. So if it was for kind of like a well-being check every morning, you could use that, and and then you can keep the data on the website. So that's something that I hadn't heard of before and found quite interesting, so just thought I would mention it. Right, I'm going to come back to the call then and stop sharing, and I'll just stop the recording as well.